If we back to our figure here, like the space-time coordinate where we have this dashed line as light ray, and let's sketch in an observer who is sitting in a railroad car moving to the right with a constant speed v. His volt line is labeled with equation that describe his motion. Once again, this frame will be moving such as that x prime equal x minus vt. So exactly like the moving observer in our figures before. So now let's draw the volt line here. Let's call it art, name of art, where it's x equal vt and x prime equals 0. We begin with adding also two more observers, call it Maggie and Lenny. Maggie is sitting in the rail car directly in front of Art, meaning to your right, and Lenny's rail car is directly in front of Maggie. Adjacent observers are separated from each other by 1 unit of length as measured in your frame, the rest frame. Equation for Maggie's and Lenny's volt line are shown in this figure, so it's like this. This is for Maggie, which is x equal vt plus 1, and we also have Lenny, x equal vt plus 2. So yes, because Maggie is located 1 unit to the right of Art, her trajectory is just x equal vt plus 1. Likewise, Lenny's trajectory is x equal vt plus 2. Art, Maggie, and Lenny are in the same moving frame. They are at rest with respect to each other. Our first observer, Art, has a clock, and his clock happens to read 12 noon just as he arrives at the origin. We will assume the clock in the rest frame also read 12 noon at this event. We both agree to call 12 noon our time 0. So and we label our common origin with x equal 0 equals 0 and t equals 0. So over here in your coordinates, and in Art's coordinate we have x prime, we have x prime equals 0 and t prime equals 0. The moving observer and the stationary observer agree by assumption on the meaning of t equals 0. For you, the stationary observer, t equals 0 all along the horizontal axis. In fact, that's the definition of the horizontal axis. It is the line where all times for the stationary observer are 0. Suppose Art sends out a light signal to Maggie from the origin. So this one. At some point, we don't know yet what the point is. Lenny will also send out a light signal toward Maggie. He will somehow arrange to do this in a way that both signals reach Maggie at the same instant. If Art's light signal starts at the origin, Maggie will receive it at point A, so this one. In this figure, from what point must Lenny send his light signal if it is to reach at Maggie at the same time? We can find out by working backward. The world line of any light signal that Lenny sends to Maggie must make a 45-degree angle to the x-axis. This one, 45 degree. So all we need to do is construct a line at the point A that slopes 45 degrees downward toward the right and extend it until it crosses Lenny path. It's 45 degree. This is point B in the figure. As we can easily see from the figure, point B lies above the x-axis and not on it. What we have just shown is that the origin and point B are simultaneous even in Art's frame. In other words, the moving observer Art will say that T prime 0 at point B. Yeah, so for him, T prime 0 at point B. Why? Because in the moving frame of reference, Art and Lenny, who are equidistant from the central observer Maggie, send her light signals that arrive at the same instant of time. So Maggie will say, you guys send me light signal at exactly the same instant of time, because they both arrive here at the same instant of time, and I happen to know that you are at equal distance from me. Now, we have established that Art's and Maggie's and Lenny's x-axis is a line that joins the common origin, i.e. common to both frames, to point B. Our next task is to find out exactly where point B is. Once we figure out point B's coordinates, we will know how to specify the direction of Art x prime axis. We will go through this exercise in detail. It's a little cumbersome, but quite easy. There are two steps involved, the first being to find the coordinates of point A. Point A sits at the intersection of two lines, the rightward moving light ray x equals ct and the line x equal vt plus 1, which is Maggie's world line. To find the intersection, we just substitute one equation into the other. Because we are using relativistic units for which the speed of light c equal to 1, we can write the equation that x equals ct in even simpler way, x equal t. Substituting this equation into Maggie's world line, which is x equal vt plus 1, gives t equal vt plus 1, or t times 1 minus v equals 1, or even better, we call it ta equal 1 divided by 1 minus v. Now that we know the time coordinate of point A, we can find its x-coordinate. This is easily done by noticing that all along the light ray x equal t. In other words, we can just replace t with x in this equation. So we can write xa equals 1 divided by 1 minus v. And we found point A. With the coordinates of point A in hand, let's look at the line AB. Once we have an equation for line AB, we can figure out where it intersects Lenny's world line x equal vt plus 2. It takes a few steps, but they are fun and I don't know of any shortcuts. Every line that slopes at 45 degrees pointing downward to the right has the property that x plus t is constant along the line. So every line sloping upward to the right at 45 degrees has the property that x minus t is constant. Let's take the line AB. Its equation is This is for line AB. Its equation is x plus t equal to some constant. What is the constant? An easy way to find out is to take one point along the line and plug in specific values x and t. In particular, we happen to know that at point A, xa plus ta equal 2 divided by 1 minus v. Therefore, we know that this is true all along line AB, and the equation for that line must be x plus t equals 2 divided by 1 minus v. Now we can find B's coordinate by solving the simultaneous equation for line AB and for Lenny's-Walt line. Lenny's-Walt line is x. So is x equal Vt times 2, which we write as x minus Vt equals 2. Our simultaneous equation are and x minus Vt equals 2. The solution after a bit of easy algebra is Tb equal 2v 1 minus v square, while xb equal to 2 divided by 1 minus v square. First, the most important point Tb is not 0. Therefore, point B, which is simultaneous with the origin in the moving frame, is not simultaneous with the origin in the rest frame. Next, consider the straight line connecting the origin with point B. So, imagine the straight line connecting the origin with point B here. By definition, the slope of that line will be Tb divided by xb. And using this equation, we see that the slope is v. This line is nothing but the x prime axis, and it is given very simply by the equation t equal v times x. Keep in mind as we go along that the velocity v can be positive or negative depending on whether I am moving to the right or to the left relative to your frame. For negative velocity, we'll have to redraw diagrams or just flip them horizontally. Now, I'm going to draw you another figure. Which is this belongs to Art. This is Maggie, and this is Lenny. Yeah, I can get X. A, this is B, This figure shows our space-time diagram with x prime and t prime axis drawn. The line t equals fx equals vx, or what is really a three-dimensional surface in the space-time map when the two other coordinates y and z are accounted for, has the important property that on it all the clocks in the moving frame record the same value of t prime. To give it a name, it is a surface of simultaneity in the moving frame. It plays the same role as the surface t equal 0, t equals 0, does for the rest frame. So far in this section, we have worked in relativistic unit, where the speed of light is c equals 1. Here is a good opportunity to practice your skill in dimensional analysis and figure out what equation t equal this one, yeah, would look like in conventional units of meters and seconds. In those units, equation this one is not dimensionally consistent. The left side has unit second and the right side has unit meter squared per second. To restore consistency, we have to multiply the right side by an appropriate power of c. The correct factor is 1 divided by c squared. So, v divided by c squared times x. The interesting about this equation is that it describes a straight line with the incredibly tiny slope, which is the slope v divided by c squared. For example, if v were 300 meters per second, roughly the speed of a jetliner, the slope would be v divided by c squared, which is 3 times 10 to the power of minus 15. In other words, the x prime axis here would be almost exactly horizontal. The surfaces of simultaneity in the rays and moving frames would almost exactly coincide, just as they would in Newtonian physics. This is an example of the fact that Einstein's description of space-time reduced to newtons if the relative velocity of the reference frames is much less than the speed of light. This is, of course, an important sanity check. Now, we can return to relativistic units with c equal 1. Let's simplify our diagram and keep only the features we will need going forward. So, this is the simplified diagram. Sorry, maybe I need to draw it. T x. This is x prime, t equal vx, t prime equal 0. This is the light ray, x equals cd. This is t prime, which is x equal vt and x prime equal 0. So, the dashed line in this figure represents a light ray, whose volt line makes a 45-degree angle with both the t and x axis. Earth's world line is shown on the t prime axis. His x prime axis is also labeled. Both of the Earth's axes are also labeled with appropriate equation. Notice the symmetry of his two axes. X equals vt and t equals vx. These two lines are reflection of each other about the dashed light territory. They are related by interchanging t and x. Another way to say it is that they each make the same angle with their nearest unprimed axis. The x-axis in the case of t equals Vx, and the t-axis in the case of x equals Vt. So this one and this one. We have discovered two interesting things. First, if the speed of light really is the same in every frame, and you use light rays to synchronize clock, then the pairs of events that are synchronous in one frame are not the same pairs that are synchronous in other frame. Second, we have found what synchronicity actually means in the moving frame. It corresponds to surfaces that are not horizontal but are tilted with slope v. We have figured out the direction of the x' and t' axis in the Earth's moving frame. Later on, we will figure out how to mark off the intervals along this axis.